technology. Yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are getting. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools, yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are getting. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools, yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are getting. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools, yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are getting. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools, yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are getting. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools, yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. technology. Yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
We will be starting in approximately 3 minutes. So if you're sitting in the back or on the sides, we're going to invite you to kindly make your beautiful ways to the center of the room if you can. Again, we're going to invite you to kindly come forward and to try to keep it in the center of the room. We would truly appreciate it. So again, we will be starting in approximately 3 minutes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence. We absolutely appreciate it. And we ask you if you could kindly move to the center of the room. Thank you for your kind cooperation.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology. Yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn off the skills training, full steam we are giving. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools. Yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology. Yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn off the skills training, full steam we are giving. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools. Yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology. Yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for being here. DJ Logon, thank you very much for the musical interlude. At this time, I'd like you to kindly stand for the playing of the national anthem. Please be seated. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first town hall meeting of TREND, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to advance the transformation of the education sector. Perhaps my mic wasn't on. Perhaps there was no audio in the building, because I think when we speak about food and the gastronomy industry, we're excited. And when we speak about our sports, our athletes who are categorized as able-bodied and those with disabilities, we are excited. And when we talk about Jamaica being the #1 destination in the Caribbean, we are excited. And when we talk about our music and our dance and how we rub-a-dub-dub, we are excited. So I want us to keep that same energy for edu. So let me, thank you. So let me say it one more time. Welcome to the first town hall meeting of TREND, Transforming Education for National Development. Yes, man. For those of you who don't know me, I am Terry Carell. It is a pleasure to serve you in the capacity of moderator for this evening's proceedings. Now, education has been #trending in Jamaica this week, and our mission is to keep the momentum going. The ministry launched the Trend Public Education campaign just on Monday, and we have been seeing the content on air and online. Not sure if you noticed, DJ Logon was playing the video earlier. Don't know if you caught the jingle. I can't sing, so I will spare it. I will spare your ears. But one thing I loved about the jingle is that it is catchy, and it will definitely catch the attention of so many stakeholders as we speak about education. So beyond the energy around the campaign, the ministry wants to ensure Jamaicans understand what TREND is all about. So this town hall is part of that mission, to provide information to all stakeholders in education, and that includes every single Jamaican, because guess what? Education is everybody's business. Alive? Alive? Through the transformation of education, we will create a brighter tomorrow for all Jamaicans. That journey to transformation is not a sprint. It's a long-term plan that will take us all the way to 2030. The Ministry of Education and Youth has a detailed roadmap which includes and involves changes in 7 key areas, and these are known as the 7 pillars of change. We're going to learn more about these 7 thematic areas in a little while. But first, let me acknowledge our guests of honor and the subject matter experts who are all key participants in this transformation process. Please help me in welcoming the Minister of Education and Youth, the Honorable Favour Williams. We would also like To acknowledge the presence of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Youth, Dr. Kassan Troop. Acting Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education and Youth, Mrs. Terry Ann Thomas Gale, my namesake. Chairman of the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, ETOC, Dr. Adrian Stokes. Welcome, sir. We say good evening to the following persons as well. Chief Executive Officer of the National Parenting Support Commission, Ms. Kesia Carr. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mr. Layton Johnson. President of the Jamaica Association of Education Officers, Mrs. Fiona Morris-Webb. Vice President of the Association of Principals and Vice Principals, Mr. Stanford Davis. Thank you so very much for being here, and it would be remiss of me to not acknowledge the Executive Director of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Mrs. Sasha Vassiana Riley. President of the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, Mr. Stuart Jacobs, the man with the beard. President of the National Secondary Students Council, Mr. Kevin Lewis, looking dapper. And President of the Jamaica Prefects Association, Ms. Kimberly Sims, if she's here. And I cannot leave out my friend, my sister, media personality, serial entrepreneur, advocate, activist, Empress Golding, who I understand is the social media ambassador for the Trend campaign. So we're gonna hear about you, your voice, and your platform. Yes, you never read the fine print. Hi, Empress, good to see you. And even though I've gotten those guests of honor out of the way, I have to say thank you very much to the specially invited guests, the principals, the teachers, the education officers, the students. Can we put our hands together for our students, please? And of course, friends of the media, thank you for your support in spreading the word. I have to also call out this very special person, Tony Aiken, our sign language interpreter for the evening. I will take the opportunity to say good evening and welcome. I'm learning sign language. Always good to see you, Tony. I have a test, I think, next week, and pray that I do not fail. And last but no means least, our online interactive host, Joel Nomdarkum, who will be monitoring the online space and ensuring our viewers on the various platforms, whether it is Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, are a part of the conversation. Right, Joel?
Yes, Terry, thank you so much for that. And we're live on all social media platforms under the Ministry of Education and Youth, along with its partners, the Jamaica Information Service and the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, which is PBCJ. So good evening to all our online viewers. We definitely want to hear from you. We're encouraging you to drop your comments in the comment section or just send us a question, because it's going to be important for you to also play a vital role in this conversation. Now, of course, I only like to do trending events, which means that before the end of the evening, we should be trending, and we want to encourage you all to use the hashtags TrendBrighterJA and hashtag TrendEduJA. Let me say that for you again. TrendBrighterJA and TrendEduJA. And while I have my friends online, this is also for everybody in the audience right here as well. We want to keep it trending. Now, the transformation process is about collaboration and engagement, and that begins with dialogue. So, let the conversation begin. Over to you, Terry.
All right. Thank you so very much, Joel. So again, even though you are here in the audience, go ahead. If you hear something that is interesting, you want to share it, hashtag TrendBrighterJA and hashtag TrendEduJA. So without further ado, let's get started. The process to transform education isn't new. It began with a comprehensive analysis and a detailed report containing, guess how many recommendations? Just throw out some numbers. No, but the people who know the answer cannot answer. What answer you think? How many recommendations you think were taken? 361? 65? Anybody over here? 3,000? That's a lot. My beautiful ladies from Immaculate? 4,000. All right. Leave it to the students to be like 4,000, 10,000. The process to transform it, as we said, is not easy and it's not new. It began with a comprehensive analysis and a detailed report containing 365 recommendations from a committee led by Harvard professor Orlando Patterson in 2021. One key recommendation was for the government to establish an oversight committee to help the ministry stay on track. Dr. Adrian Stokes is the chairman of the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, and he comes to the lectern now to do the official welcome. Please make him welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Minister Williams, PS Troop, special invited guests, of whom there are many, so I won't attempt to go through the list of persons, but I want to formally welcome you to this evening's event. Now, let me first say that I'm very encouraged by the nature of this town hall today that the ministry is executing. At one of our press briefings, the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, ETOC, we remarked that the ministry needed to ramp up its public education campaign. And I was given the commitment by the minister and the permanent secretary, Dr. Troop, that this will be done. So I'm very, very happy that we're seeing this event this evening. And from what I can see, it is part of a strategic effort that will unfold in the coming days and weeks, months even, of a greater engagement with the public. So I want to recognize the effort of the ministry, in particular the senior leadership, Dr. Troop and her team, Minister Williams. And let me also recognize the very hardworking Miss Stacy Smith, who leads the communication effort and is responsible, along with the team that she leads, for a lot of what you're seeing here today. So very, very happy for the execution. So, change is very difficult. And transformation and trying to transform something as complex as our education system is a very, very demanding piece of work. Transformation requires what I would say a number of deliberate and consistent steps to be successful. Importantly, it requires what I would call strategic alignment. Everyone agreeing on the big goal. Everyone knowing why we are doing this, the why. Why are we doing it? It's very, very important. And the big why for us in Jamaica is that we are improving, or at least trying to improve drastically, the educational outcomes in our country. We are not satisfied with what we are seeing. Now, the transformation effort will be successful if all stakeholders are pulling, or I would say pushing, trying to turn the flywheel in the same direction. We know it is much easier to get a full revolution of that flywheel if all parties are pushing in the same direction. Now, importantly, with a flywheel, once the flywheel gets going and it builds momentum, it is very, very difficult to stop. And that's what we want to see with the transformation process. Persons, stakeholders that are aligned, pulling in the same direction to ensure that we can get that first revolution so that we become unstoppable, and importantly, transformation becomes embedded in the educational system. Now, of course, the opposite is true. If we have stakeholders pulling in different direction, then the flywheel is unlikely to move. And guess what? We won't have, importantly, momentum. We won't have that momentum. And transformation will fail. So, as we seek to transform education in Jamaica, the key to success is a broad national consensus. Everyone pushing the flywheel in the same direction. If we do that, we are unstoppable. So please get on board. Let's work as a team to achieve the big goal of transforming education for national development. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we can do a much better job than that, ladies and gentlemen, for Dr. Stokes. Now, Dr. Stokes, I'm not sure if you're aware, but every jingle and every song come with a dance. So I heard, I don't know, a birdie told me that you've been practicing a dance for Trend. Is that? No, rumors. So you're saying that my sources are not credible. Don't worry, I'm not putting you on the spot, but don't worry, we have a very talented performer who will certainly come and entertain us a little bit. But thank you for that. This requires deliberate and constant strategy, partnership, collective effort, collaborative effort, and a shared goal. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know that ETOC and the Ministry of Education and Youth have been working behind the scenes for the last 2 years to lay the groundwork for transformation. While they do the heavy lifting, we all agree that the business community has a keen interest in this entire process. This is why we invited the private sector organization of Jamaica to be a part of this event. Please welcome the PSOJ's Executive Director, Mrs. Sasha Bassiano-Riley.
Good evening, everyone. And we are indeed excited to be here, all the excitement. Terry is right. We believe this takes all hands on deck. As Adrian indicated earlier, it is everybody pulling in the same direction with the flywheel. And we believe that PSOJ, the business community, we all have a role to play. And so it is with pleasure that I bring greetings on behalf of the private sector in Jamaica at this, the launch of the Ministry of Education and Youth's Trend Program. Good evening, Minister Favour Williams and PS Dr. Troop. A moment like this is a powerful testament to what we can achieve when the public and the private sectors collaborate for the good of our nation. The importance of education in the social and economic fabric of a country is clearly undeniable. It is a foundation upon which the future is built. And for Jamaica to attain a sustainable and competitive economy, we must take deliberate steps in planning, designing, and investing in an education system that is both world-class and inclusive. It is also undeniable that our investment in education redounds to a vibrant, competitive, productive sector and opens up a myriad of opportunities for our citizens. We believe this Trend program, birthed from the comprehensive Dr. Patterson report that Terry spoke of, which is long in coming, it is a monumental stride towards achieving these goals. With its focus on multiple pillars, ranging from governance and accountability to infrastructure and technology, Trend aligns perfectly with the PSOJ's objectives. We are particularly excited about the pillar related to TVET, which is a technical and vocational education and training. Our businesses, industries, and indeed the economy at large require a skilled workforce, not just academically, but also vocationally. The functional principles underlying Trend, such as the emphasis on STEAM and social and emotional learning, echo the needs of the modern workplace and the life skills crucial to personal development. Furthermore, the PSOJ recognizes the need for a robust and well-rounded education system that prepares our young minds to be not just academically proficient, but also socially responsible and economically productive. In order for Jamaica to succeed in today's highly competitive global market, it is crucial that our education system produces individuals who are equipped to tackle the challenges of modern life and make meaningful contributions to our productive sector. This is precisely why the TREND program, with its ambitious goal to transform our education system by 2030, resonates so deeply with us. At the PSOJ, we firmly believe that an effective education system serves as a pipeline that feeds skilled and competent individuals into the job market. It positions the country to be more agile and responsive to development needs, attracting both local and foreign investments. But more than that, education is a tool for social equity. It is a tool that, when used effectively, can break the cycle of poverty, elevate communities, and empower individuals to contribute positively to society. As we move towards the milestones set for Vision 2030, let it be known that PSOJ remains fully committed to partnering with the Ministry of Education and Youth. We offer our platforms, our networks, and our expertise in the spirit of unity and nation building. By strengthening our education through programs like TREND, we not only uplift the coming generations, but also forge a brighter, more prosperous future for Jamaica. We thank you for inviting us to be a part of this initiative and assure you of our unwavering support. May we continue to trend towards excellence together. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, and so well said in terms of access, advancement, agility. Now, I am reminded that we have students in the audience, and some of them range from very, very young to older, more mature, because I would never call the students in sixth form old. But she mentioned that this is a competitive world, and for many of you, especially those of you who might be in sixth form, like, what does that mean? When you consider some of the biggest brands in the world who are now looking into other markets, because now they will hire people remotely. They now don't have to rely on people within the territory they occupy. But then now they're looking out into different territories to see where they can find people and pay people for their work and their talent and their craft. And if we are not skilled, and if we're not educated, they overlook us and they go to another territory. And so when we speak about transformation and people going, well, what that have to do with us? It actually affects every single person. And if more of our students, as they graduate, can land remote jobs, get paid in different currencies, I don't know, US, pound, Caymanian dollar, I don't know. You can do it right here, which means that the money stays where? Here. Which means that your livelihood is where? Here. And so we don't want you to think of education as this abstract thing. We are saying that money and opportunities are out there, but education, as was said, is the tool, and we have to take it seriously. So I thank you so very much for that. So let us now talk to the person who has no pressure, right? Easiest job in the world. Easiest. Has to get up, has to look at policy, has to look at the education system, everyone who is affected, all of the stakeholders, communicate with everyone, get everyone sharing this one goal, moving and pushing in the same direction. It is not for the faint of heart. Luckily, the lady who I'm about to introduce, Talawa. Please put your hands together for the Minister of Education and Youth, the Honorable Favour Williams.
Big up the trend. Give me a few lines from that note, Stacey. Big up the trend. Watch the trend. Big up the trend. All right. Good afternoon. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. While they cue that up, let me just say good afternoon, everyone. In particular, let me acknowledge our host principal, Principal Robinson. Give him a round of applause. We are here at JC, and JC just happens to be in my constituency. Thank you so much, Principal Robinson, for having us this afternoon. Let me acknowledge our moderator, Dr. Terry Carell-Reid. I know as well I'm going to acknowledge our Minister of State in absentia, I know she's on other important ministry matters and would have been here otherwise. Let me acknowledge as well Dr. Adrian Stokes, Chairman of the Education Transformation Oversight Committee. And if you want to know somebody miserable, Dr. Stokes. No, he's there every week, pushing. Minister. Yes, we have to be on our toes. Let me acknowledge as well Dr. Kassan Troop, our Permanent Secretary. Members of the Executive Management Team, staff of the Ministry of Education and Youth, and I see in our midst, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mr. Leighton Johnson. Thank you for being here. Mr. Stuart Jacobs, National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica. Mr. Jacobs, we have such an ambitious program for you, for our parents, to bring them on into the fold. And in that same light, let me especially acknowledge Ms. Casey Carr, National Parent Support Commission. And in case you did not know, she has the task of ensuring that this school year, a minimum of 100,000 parents are trained in effective parenting. But Ms. Carr, don't worry, we're with you. We're here to provide the support because we recognize that our parents are an important stakeholder. Let me recognize as well from the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Mrs. Sasha Bassiani Riley, yes, because it is to your companies that we send our students. And so to the extent that we can work hand in hand to understand the needs of private sector and for private sector to work with our schools in the way that German companies work with the schools, the Singaporean companies, they are so integral in the schools. They build out labs in schools. Yes, we need that kind of a partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. Members of the panel who will be fielding your questions, ladies and gentlemen, principals from all over Jamaica, thank you for being here this afternoon. Teachers, students, I know you have school tomorrow, but you're here to learn about TREND, Transforming Education for National Development. And in the event I left anybody out, let me say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again. I want to express my gratitude to all of you for taking the time to join us and to participate in this crucial discussion about the transformation of education. It brings me great joy to see such a diverse audience, again, including our students, parents, and the teachers here this evening. I want to also acknowledge those who are joining us remotely and to thank the media as well for continuing to carry the good news of education. So we're gathered here at the Jamaica College Auditorium to share with you the context and purpose behind the Transforming Education for National Development TREND initiative. TREND aims to involve members of the public, including students, teachers, parents, and school boards, as well as anyone with an interest in Jamaica's education system and its contribution to national development. I am sure you know that for many years, despite some outstanding achievements, our public education system has had instances where the outcomes fell short of our expectations. Over the past year, in light of the 365 recommendations from the Jamaica Education Transformation Commission, led by Professor Orlando Patterson, a son of Jamaica, a graduate, which school is he? Did he graduate from again? A graduate of Kingston College. He led the commission to interrogate the education system in Jamaica, to help us to understand what's working and what's not, and what it is that we need to transform in order to get the results, the outcomes that we desire. And that work led to the 365 recommendations that we have been reporting on. And the last time the Oversight Committee reported, we were able to say that 20% of those recommendations were underway, and that is no small, right, that's no small task. So working closely with the Oversight Committee under the leadership of Dr. Adrian Stokes, who you heard from earlier, we have started the work on implementation. There have been a series of consultations as well, a lot of different activities. We've chosen the theme, Transforming Education for National Development Trend, to guide our engagements in the coming months. It is crucial that we all understand the objectives of this transformation and the ongoing programs. The ministry has made significant investments to modernize and improve the delivery of education services and enhance the learning outcomes of Jamaican students. This evening, you will learn more about the key thematic areas guiding our activities, which include the 7 pillars. Pillar number 1, governance, administration, leadership, and legislation. Our Education Act and Regulation date back to 1962 and 1980. We've been doing work to modernize that. Pillar number 2, early childhood education. There's a lot of talk on everybody's tongue about improving early childhood education. Be it understood that the way that we're structured in Jamaica in the early childhood sector currently, Jamaica, when you look at the number of schools, the Jamaican government owns only 20% of the early childhood institutions in this country. The remaining 80% are owned by private individuals who operate a business, who charge for their services. We want to work together with those private individuals to ensure that they come up to standard and that they have trained professionals within those early childhood institutions. Pillar number 3, curriculum, teaching and teacher training. Pillar number 4, the tertiary sector. As you know, we have currently a relatively low level of enrollment relative to the region and to developed countries. We would love to get the percentage of young people who go on to tertiary significantly higher than it is right now. The last time I read our draft policy, we are looking at getting up to the 85% range versus kind of where we are now, below 30%. The pillar number 5, TVET in Jamaica. This year, we are investing $400 million to build out labs, TVET labs in our high schools. They do have labs currently, but over the years, the investments did not keep up with the equipment that they should be having. And so we want to ensure that our high schools in particular, that their TVET labs are upgraded. Infrastructure and technology. This is one in which we have done a lot of work on, especially the technology part. You know that the education system was pulled kicking and screaming into the technology age as a result of COVID. And so we started putting together the pieces since then, and we've continued to do the work on it. And what are those pieces? Ensuring our students have devices, ensuring our teachers are equipped with laptops, and we're delighted. We've completed at the primary school level, all of our teachers have a laptop. We're now, we've moved on to the high school to ensure that our high school teachers, those in teacher training colleges and others, have a laptop. There are mountains or oceans of e-resources that are available for teachers, for students. So that's another part of the puzzle. The most significant part, which we're working on, and we're about halfway there with, is the broadband infrastructure to our schools. Our goal is every single school across Jamaica, regardless of where they are, should have broadband capability at the school, and not just in the administrative offices, but in the classrooms as well. And we have been working interministerially to literally lay the cables to connect the schools. I am so thrilled, so proud of the work that has been done over the last 2 years. And I know there's a commitment and the budget to continue it to completion. So we're on that. And finally, the last pillar, financing. How do we finance education in Jamaica? You know, the government is the financier of education primarily. But currently, when we look at our primary schools and our secondary schools, the formula in use is on a per-student basis. We know that there are schools that need more than we're giving them currently, but just because of the intensity with which they need to work with the students who are in those schools. And there are other schools who get massive support from their alumni that may not need quite as much from the government. We have to look at the formula to see how we can best support those who need it most so that everyone can come up to that level. The ambitious initiative will impact the operations of our central ministry, its 14 agencies, 10 divisions, and various educational institutions, including 2,319 public and private early childhood institutions. And again, of that 2,319, roughly 400 is financed by the government of Jamaica. We have 1,010 public primary and secondary schools. We have 7 educational regions. But more importantly, what we're doing will directly affect and strengthen the outcomes for some 600,000 plus students enrolled in the educational institutions across the sector. This is significant as our students are considered the future architects of our society. Their education, growth, and development not only shape their individual lives, but also have a profound impact on the collective well-being of our community. The transformation program is about building human capacity, modernizing operations, leveraging technology in education, administration, and delivery, improving physical and internet broadband infrastructure, and providing resources for STEM or STEAM education to prepare our students for the contemporary global community. So tonight's town hall meeting is an opportunity for all of you to share your perspectives, insights, and suggestions on how best to move forward. I'm eager to listen to you, our cherished stakeholders, and I'm confident that this discussion will be informative and engaging. And together, we look forward to continuing the public discourse in the coming months. So I want to thank you in advance for your participation. And just to let you know, even though we're going to go across Jamaica with the discussion, but simultaneously, the work is happening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to hearing from you tonight. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you can do a much better job than that after our minister has addressed us. Thank you so very much, Minister. She did say that they were going to go across the island. They will be discussing. They're going to be putting their feet on the ground, getting work done, implementing. I also heard another birdie tell me that the minister is going to have a trend dance battle with Dr. Stokes. So we look forward to the hashtag trending moment. There's something very important that I want to reinforce what the minister just said, because we said earlier that change does not happen overnight. Education is complex, it is layered, it requires people and vision and strategy. It also requires phases. So even as we're having this town hall and we're talking about the 7 pillars and what we plan on doing, understand everything can't be done in the first phase. You have to lay a brick, then lay the next one, and then you lay the next one, and you measure, and you keep on improving as it goes along. But certainly the biggest takeaway is that we cannot do this without our teachers, our educators, private sector, public sector, the other ministries, and even our students. So even as we are transforming education, we also require that our students have a positive attitude and approach. Agreed? Just doing a temperature check. What does TREND stand for? I'm not convinced. What does TREND stand for? Frontal class, and we're looking forward to the discussion that is coming up because this is interactive, and we look forward to the questions that will be had here as well as online. And speaking of online, Joel, what is online saying?
Well, first of all, online already have them questions in.
They always do.
So we're ahead of the class right now. But just to remind everybody that we have 2 very important hashtags. And if you're just joining me, as you can see, I have like multiple devices keeping up because we're streaming live on JIS as well as PBCJ. So, you know, it's all information that's coming in. So if you're just getting a chance to hop on, the hashtags that we're using are TrendBrighterJA and TrendEduJA. And if you're just joining, this has been a fantastic discussion so far. There's a lot more to come. Thank you so much for tuning in. But keep those questions coming. I know we have about 3 or 4 already in the chat. We're looking forward to some more. It's quite an enormous undertaking for the ministry, but we're very excited about this, very excited to see the discussions to come. And I'm already, Terry, looking forward to even joining on some of the road trips because 1 is a road trip, but 2, I get to meet young people and talk to them and have really meaningful conversations. Over back to you, Terry.
All right, thank you so very much. Again, we invite your questions and we will try to get in as many questions as possible. But just before we get into the main discussion, the panel discussion, I'm going to invite to the Trend Town Hall stage a man on a mission. A man who is on a mission to promote ambition. An artist who promotes assets over hype. One of easily the most conscious voices in the music industry today. I had the pleasure of seeing him perform last year and I can't wait to see him again. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Yaxter.
Blessings, love and light. What is everyone doing? 2-2. DJ Amber, you go. Everybody. When emotions are passed through you, I want prayer heal all those wounds. Just remember, say Jah feels your pain. Jah feel. So, and when the sky is not blue, me native don't give up too soon. Just remember, say Jah feels your pain. Jah feel. I coulda really want the cause of this. Them say the cake I want to car fight. I take up me put in at them sorry. Sure, them style the thing now want me part tight. The wagon full no more me can't carry. And don't got me out so me them can't tally. Me do me thing and got the some me not hurry. Some breeder shame and face when me can't water it. And me say partially. Them style me already know I tell the boss sorry. I look at thing me listen when you talk, mommy. Cause humans want take me yard from me. Yards up forever, you know me can't drop it. Nations bush lad that sing harmony. Come and give thanks for life, put your nice guy like this now away. Left to right everybody. Victory we sing about. When emotions are passed through you, I want prayer heal all those wounds. Just remember say Jah feels your Jah feel. Hey, and when the sky is not blue, me native don't give up too soon. Just remember, say Jah feels your pain. Jah bump me low. And we are the future because we are the youth. But initiative like this, we have to embrace. Because we say mobility and transformation for Jamaica. And the few and all youths. Turn it up a little bit more, yeah. The mic, make sure the mic not working now. Anyways, make a change in 2 days. One track way too great. Nation, we're too great. Our veterans of today, congratulations, I'm like touche. And many say they want us winning. And I'm like, really do they? We follow their crusade. Push your hands up in the sky and wave. Pass through you, geek. Give me next one, my general. Amen. Who believe in a back juice selling? Building a folk club. Selling ice. Downtown shopping. Who believe in a... Ole. Ladies, if you love money, say money. If you want lots of money, say money. If you want me to give you money, say money. Say yes to give me money. I have none to give you, I'm sorry. Turn up my track. Yes, I. They want to hear a money song now. I don't business with them, bro. Me have my own rated life for Benz load. Land lease, so we a go get the fence round. Drop a candy and a panny, make sense down. Enough for eyeglass we drink our ends out. I put a truck on the road and went down. Me a broke tell the beggar say me spend out. Asia good when the bush lads step down. Anyways, I set over hype dog them breed. True contribution a NHD. So me can qualify for your loan and use that money and purchase a home. My plan surpass A, B, and C. My granny young shop turn Airbnb. A foundation set grandbabies can feast. Progressive people, come to the man. Hey, so we go build a full group. Up a castle and buns of full too. Yeah, cause no one shall go take a loan, bro. Go put a vaccine on the road, bro. Myself with your hope too. Because I'm supposed to. Yo, and round Robin Jack Road. See them with Kaya all until them grey and all. What me do? Build up a cup and get some layer fall. Circle every small business with their town. Sell them lit with eggs not just tray alone. 40 mil when we make Monday alone. I'm out dear than beef 1K now. Me use bills by accessories pan AliExpress and boom. Hold it now, hold it. I want to share my story now. My story is, I'm an inner city youth from country who went to school, wasn't deprived from academics. Academia is my thing. But anyways, I pursue my dream, which is art. You understand? Big up to my mother, sell her ice, her pigeon them. But I never take up no gun. I take up the pen and the microphone. And do what? So gambling me left alone, bro. And round Robin Jack Road. Next one. Hold it now. Hold it. Yes, Amber. I got too fast. Let me take off my glasses. Yeah. Now see youths them in the school uniform. More I'm gonna know this. Don't deprive yourself from anything hard. You see, it's the hardship them really and truly will mold every individual that you see now in suits. They may not say it, because my mom is a superhero. I never know how she take care of 13 pitney, but she do it. You get to me, I say, by not having a job. But I just want to know this. While you learn the fundamentals of schooling, also master the heart of money. Because that's one thing they didn't taught us in school, and will not teach you in school. And the next thing, the initiative of unity. Your uniform is the first programming of unity. We sit together, so we work together. If you have ambition, put up your nice guy like this. Everybody who come out successful in life, put up your nice guy like this. Me believe in Jamaica because I'm a Jamaican. I'm proud of my country. Excuse me, na pagan. Me nah speak valley. Wheel! Oh, I go look at it, so. If you have ambition, say ambition. If you like money, say money. If you want rich, say rich. I pivot that upon you. And I love all of you. From the top of my heart, you know? Hey, excuse me, na pagans. Me nah seek validation. So, a toast and admiration. From you now, your patrons. You're boasting about name brands. Sure, we cost over 8 grand. When me searching have the same one, with the cost of a straight pants. Me queen, a YO and a Ferrari. Sure, I wait nowhere to park it, boy. A white shop a Louis V. When there is a target, Sure, now me hype on my face day. True minds me a save it. But them go vend if it trendy. Bank account ya empty. Everybody sing. Sure, link me wife on me. Go inside, girl, breathe up. Child support that a little. Hey, a farming over flossing. Investment over braffing. Inheritance for me seeds, oh yeah. Me alright being mean. Anyways, if you are 50 and never make a brings get used, means the poor say your kids next to employment you use as a. You want him grow so him get. I see him 24 hours so what you got to. When your kids do good you buy them jewels. One and by chief buy their own tools. To keep getting wealthy. I'll sell and more one piece. Nobody watch how my class clean. Soon start supplying Walgreens. I stocks large when you plant trees. What them do, them feel some would have football go on. You, sir. And it's a be a criminal bill from a bowler. San Diego, I wave. I acres over markets. Sure, link my wife on me. Sure, go inside. Sure, hey, a farming over flossing. Investment over braffing. Inheritance for me seeds, oh yeah. Me alright being mean. Listen this now. Though the year tempting, me still watch how me spending. A 9 pound 12 goat kid. A billions when them get big. Sure, build up a ranch and rent it. Ground produce must plenty. Ice party vending. Each bag cost empty. So when me do partner join me fix mine. Hey, me invest back in a Bitcoin. Sure, I'm blockchain virtual gold. Demands inflate in time. But me invest in my merch. Give some back to the church. Pastor boy look at work. But we still love God. Put up your nice guy. Go so. Hey, me gone for you, man. Love you, blessing and light. Yak to the bush lad representing.
Trend family, put your hands together for Yakster. No man, you guys can do a much better job than that. Big him up, big him up, big him up. When you say artists who putting out good music, you have to big them up. Because a lot of the time we talk about money and yeah, we want to earn the money, but a lot of the times we don't know how to save that money or how to spend that money wisely. So we'll look about assets, not just the hot car and the hot shoes and the hot this and everybody just at and dally dong, dally me, dally this. Yeah, we're not, yeah. Make sure that you do the thing properly. But thank you so very much, Yakso. The minister has actually, she has a pressing matter and had to leave, so she's asking if she could be excused. However, she's leaving us in very good hands. So this is the time when we come down to the main discussion. That is the purpose of this town hall. This is your opportunity to ask questions, to get more information, and of course, we invite you, as soon as we open it up to the audience, those of you in the audience, as well as those of you watching online, to kindly submit your questions. So we now invite our panelists to come on the stage. We invite Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Youth, Dr. Kassan Troop, the President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mr. Layton Johnson, President of the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, Mr. Stuart Jacobs. No problem. President of the National Secondary Students Council, Mr. Kayvan Lewis. We welcome Ms. Kesia Carr, Chief Executive Officer, National Parenting Support Commission. And last but not least, Mr. Stanford Davis, Vice President, Association of Principals and Vice Principals. We are ready. Thank you so very much for joining. Is how many badges you have? Prefect, peer counselor, vice president, key club member, JC Interact Club, United Nations. You're the president of course. Thank you so very much for being here, Kayvon. There's one question that I'm dying to ask because we've been speaking about trend, transforming education for national development. The question I have, of course, is what is transformation? That is a question I've been dying to ask. But our producer beat me to it and put the very same question to the public. So what does transformation mean to you? Here's what they had to say.
trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Big up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the school's track performance, access and attendance. From infant primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are getting. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools. Yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry, we're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
Today marks a historic moment as we unveil the Transforming Education for National Development, or TREND campaign. TREND is our long-term plan to reshape education in Jamaica by 2030. Creating an inclusive, world-class system. It's centered on the 7 pillars of change. Number 1, governance. Number 2, early childhood education. Number 3, teaching, curriculum, and teacher training. Number 4, the tertiary sector. Number 5, technical and vocational education and training. Number 6, infrastructure and technology. And number 7, finance, meaning the financing of education. Through TREND, we will raise public awareness as we drive meaningful change. Let's unite on this journey because the future of Jamaica depends on the excellence of our educational sector. Together we trend for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them.
Alright, so transformation means in the educational sector for me means that developing critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, right? So it's not just for formal education per se, but informal education. I think that persons can learn a lot outside of the classroom. So transformation of education, that's what it actually means to me.
Well, for me, generally speaking, transformation is moving from one phase to another. And we're talking about improvement and development. So it's having your education and moving from a downscale to an upscale pretty much.
It means doing things differently from what we normally would do. So for example, I am an agricultural science teacher and I'll have to remain in that area to look at the transformation that I am dreaming of to be for agriculture. So for our students these days, they are very modern, and so we beat on technology, to use technology to move education forward for these children. And so in agriculture, we could have technology such as a drone doing our spraying for us on the school farm. And so I think that would interest young people even more when they realize that this simple technology that I have out there can also be used in agriculture, so why not be a part of it? We can also have wherein now we have a greenhouse. So our children can see where we could have an app on our phones, simply turning on the water system for the greenhouse, turning it off, operating the lights in the chicken house. So for me, educational transformation simply means doing things differently. Before we depend on just the fork and the hoe and the machetes. And so transforming all of that would mean having these technologies that I spoke about earlier.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
All right, so we heard those responses, and I'm going to give my panelists the opportunity to give me their definition of trend. I'm going to leave Dr. Chu for last because I'm going to ask her the definition according to trend and the campaign itself. But each individual on this panel discussion represents a group or association, a community, a stakeholder. So I'm going to start with Sir Layton Johnson, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association. What is the meaning of transformation when we look at this particular stakeholder group?
Thank you very much, Terry. Good evening, everybody. Transformation, change, improvement, modernization. These are words that we can use as synonyms to to transformation at this time. We need to see an improved education system that is aligned to 21st century standards. Modernization in terms of pedagogy, in terms of curriculum development, in terms of teaching practices, in terms of infrastructure and technology. Transformation means improvement and ensuring as best as possible our students and our teachers as best as possible are engaged in a new way of thinking and doing things.
All right, well said. While you were speaking, Sir Johnson, you said modernization, and I saw Mr. Kayvon Lewis, who is the president of the National Secondary Students Council. I saw him nod his head. Talk to me, Kayvon, as a student leader, also having court with your other fellow students and hearing the word transformation in education for national development. Why is it important?
My God, okay. Good afternoon or good night, everyone.
Hello.
I think transformation is very vital. It plays a vital role in society overall, so it's important for us to really educate our people. And I think in order for us to really transform the education system, it requires a comprehensive process that really redefines how we approach learning. So it requires us to make sure that we are equipping our students with the necessary skills and knowledge that are needed to really, as the president of the PTA? JTA, my bad. So he said that it is needed for us to, make sure that we are able to navigate the 21st century. So education plays a pivotal role in that regard. So we need to make sure that we're modernizing the teaching methods, modernizing the curriculum that we have in place, and that we're enhancing the teacher training, and also making sure that we create a culture that is built on innovation and creativity, and also critical thinking.
Well, I heard somebody say, wow. If any of the panelists says something that resonates with you, feel free to clap, to shake your pot cover, to knock your pot covers. Very well said, sir. Ms. Carr, Chief Executive Officer, National Parenting Support Commission. We said earlier that transformation, especially in education, is everybody's business. Talk to me about this particular stakeholder group and why transformation is important.
Thank you, Terry. Good evening, everybody. There is no successful education system that does not have parental involvement. With that said, it is important that we work to upskill our parents so that many of the issues that teachers and principals have to grapple with on a day-to-day basis, they won't have those issues, so they can concentrate on teaching and learning. The fact is, when parents are upskilled, when they're trained, when they understand the growth and development of their children and what their support needs to be, then it means that our children will not just have the support in schools, they'll have the support at home. And many of the concepts and what they need for their holistic development will be reinforced at home, which makes for a better outcome for our children.
I absolutely love that. A healthy environment and intentional parenting are the things that I think about. Mr. Stanford Davis, Vice President, Association of Principals and Vice Principals. When we talk about our educators, our officers, the persons in the field who have to impart all of this knowledge with our students, why is transformation so important, and why is it important to get the buy-in of the principals and the vice principals?
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, other panelists. As you know, representing the Association of Principals and Vice Principals, we are the leaders who will be a critical pillar of implementation of whatever transformation or change that the Ministry of Education is trying to achieve. It means, therefore, that our buy-in is critical in terms of transforming our education system, because we are responsible for the teachers, we have the parents, the community, so our buy-in is critical to transformation. And when we say transformation in this context, we're talking about radical change in our education system. You go to many schools now and you'll see this, like when I went to school, with a teacher with the desk up the top and the desk and chair, the students sitting behind it, and it's like it's fixed that way. We now have to transform our education system to a modern system, and I want to commend the Prime Minister for choosing a world-class team, and the recommendations that have been made, all 365 of them, we don't expect them to be done in one day. Right. but what we expect is for us to see all of us coming together and picking the low-hanging fruits, but simultaneously we have to do the other things. And what I find challenging in terms of a transformation is the fact that if you look at the money that we spend on education in Jamaica and the returns that we get, there are many persons who just speak arbitrarily to say that we do not spend enough on education. But we have to now look at our returns. If we want to transform, we have to look at the formula that the minister mentioned. How do we fund the education, and where does the money go, where it's needed most? Because what we're having, instead of equity, we're having equality. So persons get, all the schools will get the same thing based on the number of students they have, and you might have a small school, as the minister mentioned earlier, that needs more, even though you have, because the thing is that no child should be left behind, and every child can learn, and every child must learn. And as a nation, I am very happy that we have started here, and I know that we will transform our education system if all of us work together and get stakeholder buy-in. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. Equity, not just equality, but equity, and measuring that equity. National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, we're heading over to the president, Mr. Stuart Jacobs, to get your definition of transformation. Why is it important, especially when we speak about the National Parent Teachers Association?
Thank you, Terry. Good afternoon, everyone. So, listen, as a nation, we have evolved. And as we evolve, our education has to grow with it. It has to move. And so, trend for me, for the NPTAJ, to all parents in Jamaica, it's a renaissance. It's a rebuilding, finding the areas where the gaps are, filling these gaps, and to ensure that the gaps that are being filled has everyone involved, all stakeholders involved. Another transformation here is a realignment of, because let's not say that the education system is down and out. It's not, because it has produced us. It has produced many. It has produced Mr. Patterson, who wrote it. But it is how we take what is present and take us into the future. Therefore, our education system as it is, the building out and the platform that it is on is to build on it. To build on it in a way that the generation to come is able to find its way easier in the developing global environment. Because no longer can we think Jamaica. We have to think globally, we have to think regionally. And as we think regionally and globally, we have to say to ourselves, are we to be followers or are we to be leaders? And I would want to say, every one of us here, we are leaders. And trend is telling us how it is that we lead. Excellent idea, excellent concept. And can I tell you something? I'm eager to see it work. But patience is a companion of wisdom. So we patiently wait.
Oh, I appreciate that. So far from the persons who we heard in the Vox Pop, from our panelists, we've heard words like realignment, rebuilding, modernization, advancement, progress, evolution, renaissance. I'm now going to head across to Dr. Troop. What is the definition of transformation by trend?
So my response is easy, Terry. All of the above. Good evening, everyone. It's really a joy to be with our key stakeholders at a time like this when we are launching TREND, which is our acronym for Transforming Education. And it must be all of us, because if we are interested in national development, we must be interested in education. So when we talk about transformation, we're talking about all hands on deck. This is precisely why we have the NPSC, we have the NPTAJ, we have the youth represented, the leadership, the voice of our young people. We talk about the leadership of our schools, Terry. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And that is why the first pillar within TREND or the transformation plan is governance, leadership, accountability, and legislation. Very, very key to the transformation. So what we want is a difference in how our teachers feel about education. We're listening. That's what the transformation is about. Too often, Our key stakeholders believe there's a disconnect. They are not feeling us. They are not understanding us. We are not together. The transformation speaks to the alignment or realignment with our key stakeholders, our teachers. Our education system cannot surpass the quality of our teachers. And so we have to reach out, we have to listen. And part of what we do and should be doing, Terry, is resourcing our teachers. Now we talk about the migration, and it preoccupies us, what's happening to our teachers. We are getting responses from our teachers, and they say to me, Dr. True, it's not that we want to leave, but it's too hard in Jamaica. We want more resources. It's time to listen. That's what the transformation is about. Our job is to enable the teachers to do well, because it is clear that they are not lacking in capabilities. They go elsewhere and they dominate, as we do as Jamaicans. Transformation means retooling, resourcing our schools, transforming the look and feel. We're not walking into the 19th century. Right now, we are rebuilding our labs. We are getting the private sector on board. Minister alluded earlier to what we saw in Singapore, where the private sector, they are the ones developing the labs in schools, maintaining the labs in schools, making sure the labs are on the cutting edge in partnership with the government. We cannot do this alone. Transformation is everybody's business. And why do we do this? For our children. It is all in service. It's not about me. It's not about anybody up here. It's about the children of this country. They deserve the best. And transformation means unearthing the excellence in every single child that comes to our schools that we have a charge over. We have a responsibility to dictate and enable their excellence. That's transformation.
All right, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, earlier we saw the jingle, and the jingle has been played on air, online, and we said, yes, it's catchy. But we are looking for outcomes. We want to know at the end of the day, what kind of outcomes, the favorable ones, are we looking for? So let me go across and let me ask JTA and PTA. Let me find out from you, what are some of the tangible outcomes, which we know won't happen overnight, but what are, if you had a number one wish in terms of an outcome, what would they be? I'll give everyone the opportunity to answer, and then I'll come to Kayvon.
And that's important, the outcome. The outcomes of this transformation, it is something that every stakeholder should be aware of. It should not be something in abstract. Outcomes must be improvement in school infrastructure, improvement in teacher resources, improvement in the outcomes of what a student ought to look like at every level within the education sector, be it the early childhood sector, the primary level, the secondary level, moving into the tertiary level. At the end of each stage, each individual in Jamaica should know exactly what it is that a successful child should look like. What is the outcome of our education system? We should all know the philosophy of education. We should know this in our sleep to say that at the end of the day, this is what our education system is producing. And these are the outcomes that we really would want to see at this time. Parental involvement. And in my estimation, I believe parental involvement should be a major pillar, because this is perhaps one of the drawbacks for me in the 7 pillars. There is the absence of parental involvement as a standalone, as a pillar, because as our Chief Executive Officer indicated, nothing can happen without the parents. And as schools, we know the difficulties we face when there isn't the necessary parental involvement in the everyday activities of the school. So those are some outcomes that we want to see.
Thank you for that. I'm going to jump across to Ms.
Kesia Carr because he touched on parenting. He gave us some outcomes that naturally he's looking forward to, but then he touched on parenting, saw you nodding. If there's an outcome, a tangible outcome that you're looking forward to, what would that be when talking about trend?
I'm going to answer in a very granular way. I want to see that all parents or all persons who have just come into parenthood understand the importance of those early years. So they're building character in their children through their own interactions, because children learn best through modeling. So they're teaching them social graces. They're teaching them how to problem solve, even at a young age. They're teaching them in ways that encourage play and their own brain development. I want to see involvement in ways where parents are resource persons. There is a whole lot of information that parents have that can help to drive the curriculum and its implementation. I want to see that kind of involvement in schools. I want to see where there is consensus between teachers and parents as to what the best interest of the child is, and that's promoted at school and at home, so that at the end of the day, we have the education sector that is representing all our efforts, our combined efforts.
Thank you for that. I'm going to get back to our panelists, but I know that we have questions. We have microphones right there in the middle of the aisles for anyone who has any questions for our panelists. Joel, I know you said that you had questions already online, so I'm actually going to throw to you just to see what those questions are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me just pull that up right now. And again, if you're just joining us online, welcome. We hope the conversation so far has been fulfilling and rewarding to you. Now, one of the questions that I'm seeing right here is, what will be different this time in terms of will there be the use of big data, and what can we do collectively as a general population? So that's like two questions in one. So the first one I'm going to ask is, what will be done different this time in terms of the use of big data to guide some of the decisions for trend? Information, statistics. That's a really good question coming in. That's a very good one.
So we're talking about, and I'm sure where it's coming from is that there are always a lot of initiatives. There are a lot of different committees. There are a lot of different drives. So this person is saying, okay, trend, you're different. What makes this different? What makes this doable, workable? And more importantly, how are we using the data and measuring in an effective manner to know what to implement, what to draw back, what to experiment with?
Okay, so what's different? First thing is that, as was done in the economic transformation plan for the country, our Prime Minister dictated that there's an oversight committee. And you met Dr. Stokes earlier. That's different. We now have a body, the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, that is made up of stakeholders, JTA, APVP, education officers, students, parents. There's a stakeholder representative because, as you know, education is a team sport. It's everybody's business. There's a group that we have to give an account to. That group is also committed to reporting to the country every quarter what is happening with transformation. That never happened before. Secondly, the transformation recommendations have become the work of the ministry. So the work of the principal, the work of NPSC, the work of the central ministry, the work of every stakeholder is a reflection of the transformation recommendation. We are also leading the work. In the past, Maris, we had external persons coming in, we had other things set up, and some persons were driving it. This time, we are the doors of transformation. We have to own it. This is precisely why we are here this evening, because we have to make sure that Jamaica is aware of every single commitment that we are making, so you can hold us accountable. We have social spaces like this that you can call us out. Dr. Troop, you're now going good. Dr. Troop, we don't feel the Ministry of Education. That's different. We are open and we are transparent. That's different. We have spoken to the budget, right? We have said to Jamaica, this is going to be a huge investment. And we have called all stakeholders. That's why NPSC is right here, NPTAJ. They were not central to the transformation. Today they are central. Why? COVID has taught us that Parenting is the missing link. They have to be central to the messaging and the transformation. We are working with our young people, all those youth groups, the NSSC, the NPTAJ, they were not actively engaged in the transformation. We now know that you want AI. We now know that you want to code. We now know that you want to drive, and you want to be ready with your provisional driver's license when you finish. We now know that you want your associate degree funded by the ministry and the government. So when you transition to tertiary, you have 2 more years to do to get your bachelor's. How do we know that? Transformational conversations like this. So Terry, it is different. It is our work, no other work. This is what we reported, and we come to the country on a quarterly basis to update. If we are lagging, the ETOC will tell us. If you were there at the last update, ETOC told us publicly that though we are making some strides, we are lagging, and we were called out for it. Now, can we go back to the next quarterly report to be lagging? Absolutely not. So we are being held accountable publicly for the transformation. That's different.
Any specific KPIs in terms of using the... Absolutely. And any specific KPIs in terms of the data. So I know that you're going to be, it's fantastic to see you getting the engagement from so many people because they're all key.
Yes.
Any particular key indicators you're going to be looking at, pulling at, measuring so that we can sift through and look to see how well we've been doing?
Well, certainly the targets themselves, they have been aligned in our implementation plan as key performance indicators. So for example, the governance component, there's a recommendation that says we need to reframe, restructure how we select our board members. That's a KPI in itself. How are we going to know? If it is that there's a new framework, if it is that there's a new way to select, that is just tangible and explicit as it is. Our recommendation says we need to invest more in early childhood. How do we know? How many of our early childhood institutions will have trained practitioners? How many of our early childhood institutions will be certified? Right now we have 2,319 of them. Only 305 of them are certified. KPI, do we get to 2,319? We are going to be held accountable for that. How do we know our labs are being upgraded? We heard about the drones earlier to come and water the plants. You should see a little bit of that happening at CASE very soon, where we're going to be investing in drones, so our young people don't have to wake up at 4 o'clock to water the plants and the field and so forth. We're using technology. How would we know? Where are the labs in our schools that are 21st century and workforce standard? Key performance indicators.
Got you. Got you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question. I believe you were here. Were you at the mic first?
Yes.
Okay, Joel, I know you have some questions. I'm going to take you. I'm going to also take you. I'm asking for the questions to be nice and short and tight so that we can get in as many as possible. Tell me who you are.
Yes, hi. My name is Lucy Richards. I'm the principal of Jamaica Language School. Our official name is Jamaica ESL Center. And I have 2 of our students here with us. What we do, we bring international students to Jamaica and teach them English. So I have 2 students here from Austria, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, we talk about transportation. What about languages? Languages is very vital because, especially with Mandarin, we're currently teaching Mandarin at heart. And this language goes over very well. So I think one of our main transformation is languages. So we have Mandarin, French, and Spanish, the different language. But I would love to get a pilot program in the public school, and I figure how would we be able to work with Miss Strokes and Miss Terry and Gail. I had just sent Miss Terry a proposal. How can we all work together to get a pilot program in the public school to start this Mandarin, which is so vital in our economy?
Okay, you indicated that you sent in a proposal already, right?
Yeah,
okay,
I did. But I haven't, just recently.
Right.
But I just want to know how can we all work together to just start a pilot program in the public sector, because it's very successful in Hart, where we're teaching the Mandarin, and of course we're teaching other sub-languages.
Right.
Do you think? Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Right. So it's easy to get in touch with us. You have sent in that already. So that will start the conversation. We will have a sit down. We have a language policy. Dr. Flowers is here. We are far advanced with it. We already have integrated in our national standards curriculum Spanish, French, of course the English language, and there's a debate about patois terre.
Correct.
We still have to resolve that as a Ministry of Education. Is it a language? Do we embrace it? Do we do immersion? You know, that kind of a thing. And we would love to expand our curriculum to Mandarin. In fact, we had a partnership with the Chinese government where we put our principals to go into China to be exposed to some of those on a cultural program. And in fact, I participated in that program as a principal to bring Mandarin back to Jamaica. So there is a framework in place.
And room for discussion.
And so we can start the conversation. So we welcome you to the table, and Mrs. Thomas Gale will respond to your proposal.
But we're a school that
thank
teach
you.
it. We teach it Mandarin.
Thank you.
Right, so we have to build the capacity. Yes. Right, so that's why we have to have the sit down and map out an implementation plan.
Correct. And there are some programs or some ideas that you might have. However, I'm going to ask that we keep the questions really focused on trend as it is happening right now and what is the idea going forward. Who are you? Where you're from?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Cavell Hilton. I'm from STEM Builders Learning Home, CEO and founder of STEM Builders. And we are an education technology company. So my question is, since COVID-19, a lot of education technology companies came up, right? Started during the COVID. And we know we can't have transformation without innovation. And since transformation is everyone's business, how can we get a seat at the table?
Excellent question. So our educational partners do have a seat at the table. In the Ministry of Education, and Dr. Flowers is here, she leads this department. We have a media services unit. And that unit is responsible for reviewing and enabling through providing resources for the education system. Through that unit, we expend $3 billion annually for the provision of resources. So as a supplier, write to us, let us know what you have. We will look at what you have and we will move into that procurement, because we don't just engage based on cost. We have to go to the natural procurement process, and we build you into the framework as a result of that. Currently, we do have educational providers. One-on-One is here. They are working with us to provide teacher support using technology. We have EduFocal. We have eLearning Jamaica. They are all providing e-resources at this time for the education system. So there is a place for our educational providers. In fact, we too have to transition into electronic resources and possibly move away from many of the printed materials that we have, and that's where you come in.
How can they also be a part of the conversation as it relates to transforming the education sector? Because I'm sure persons like myself have very innovative ideas on how to move forward.
Right, so we currently have in the Ministry of Education a book industry association. We have a meeting with them quarterly. Dr. Flowers again, she chairs that committee for me, because that's curriculum, it's curriculum related. And so what we will do is to expand that, to bring the e-resource providers to the table, because they meet with us, they help us to design resources for the system, they tell us where they are going in terms of marketing and their international partners, and how we work together in terms of printing and development of materials. So you're rightly placed, and we should expand that committee, Dr. Flowers, to put the e-providers at the table.
And if I may, I just want to do a huge shout out to STEM Builders. We had a Girls' Day, had girls from all over the island come in, and girls who thought they would not be able to code in 5 minutes. STEM Builders had the girls coding and doing challenges and winning gifts and prizes, and they had girls leaving thinking that, all right, I thought I wanted to do one thing, but now I really want to code. So shout out to STEM Builders. Thank you for the work that you do. I have some questions here. Joel, I have not forgotten about you. I'm going to take 2 more on the floor and then head online, and then we'll come back. Over to you.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Daniela Hickling, and I'm an educator of 26 years at the high school as well as university level. I've participated in and I've worked at universities in the United States as well as here, the UWI, the Five Islands campus, starting that up.
in Antigua and Barbuda. And so, we're, you know, hearing about the transformation of education, it kind of, I was very intrigued to participate in this. And I've not only been on the side of teaching, but I've also been on the side of administration as the director of administration and special projects. But my question is that when we're looking at programs such as Trend, we're talking a lot about processes and administration. We're talking about key performance indicators. We're talking about strategy and all of those things. But in this transformation, what exactly is a transformation methodology, and especially as that, the impact of that on behavioral change, and how we are going to change our approach to education, our culture of education, how we are going to think about education not just as checking boxes as we do with strategical processes, but how are we going to do this to actually impact the future, which is the students that are in this room.
All right, thank you for that.
So the how will include parents. They're here. The how will include our principals. The how will include retooling. The how will include automating the Ministry of Education. We are in service to our chief constituents, our students, parents, teachers. We know the frustration of salaries. Oh, yeah. We know the frustration of getting the grants out. So we are moving into retooling, automation, collaboration. So we have to do this as a team sport. It's not a checkbox, right? We are looking at who do we need to produce, the values that we need our graduates to reflect. And that's why we had just recently reviewed the civics curriculum, and we have launched that. That's why we are now with the Character Education Committee looking at the Character Education Framework so we can look at the quality of the graduate. Who is that Jamaican graduate? Who should that person reflect as it relates to where we want to go as a country? So the how is about all those variables or factors coming together to impact the learner.
Thank you for your... I have to get to another person. Just before I get to you, Kevin is here as he represents the students, and we've been talking about what the successful student will look like, and we've been speaking about the methodology. The question I have for you, Kevin, as you represent a lot of your fellow colleagues, they've probably spoken to you about their own frustrations. How do they hope to be transformed, and what kind of individuals do they hope to be as they venture out of school, whether into tertiary or into the working world?
Okay, so thank you for that question. So based on the education system that we have today, you know, a lot of students have voiced their issues that it kind of put them under a certain constraint because it doesn't allow them to really find their self, their individuality. So I think, you know, we need to change the curriculum, as I mentioned, modernize it to suit the needs of our students. So overall, this transformation process should make sure that we are putting things in place to make sure that we are focusing on the different learning capabilities and disabilities of students, so not just focus on one set of group of students, so that when they're, you know, moving out into the tertiary education system or any other avenues of the world, that they're able to, you know, navigate that space without any issues. So overall, I think that our education system now will have to be transformed to make sure that, you know, we're targeting students from disabled groups. I think earlier when I was watching the presentation on the live discussion, one of the persons actually posed that question, so I think the necessary person will answer that later. But things like that, we need to make sure that we're focusing not just on one particular set of students, you know, because we have different students from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic status. So education system that is inclusive of everyone.
Yeah. Fantastic, fantastic. And I know that as Tony Aiken is over there as our sign language interpreter, we always advocate for spaces because typically when we speak about education and other aspects, it's usually one type of person, and we often exclude the conversations around our students who have various special needs. I thank you so very much for that, Kevin. To the lovely lady from the Immaculate Conception High School, your question.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, panelists.
My name is Jadaine Thomas. I'm a current grade 12 student at the Immaculate Conception High School. And I'm also a representative from the National Youth Parliament. And so my question today is, well, first my suggestion, then question. So I believe that a policy should be implemented where parents must be included in the affairs of the school. I think parent-teacher meetings should definitely be taken more seriously, because I think we can all agree on that parents need to understand what is going on and what they can do to help. To refer back to what Miss in the yellow blazer, Dr. Carol, can you remind me of her title, please? Miss Cara, what she said about getting parents involved, it is very serious. It's a very serious thing that we should definitely put a lot of attention around, because what parents, they don't know what they are doing at times. I think we're in a different generation where we have to find different strategies to help this generation that we are building. And I think a lot of parents are lost, to be honest. I think nobody teaches you how to be a parent, so you can feel lost in the process. And this also goes into my question now about sensitization of teachers. When we're training teachers, I think sensitization should be implemented in that training so that teachers are not only able to be better educators, but also nurturers. Because you find that teachers are not just educators, my apologies. You find that in this process of teaching, you have to end up, it's like almost you're like a second mother or father to that child. What your teacher says matters. So I think we need to implement sensitization when we're training teachers, because going back to parent-teacher meetings, if parents are not aware of what they can do to help, we're going to find out we're going to leave children behind.
So what's your question?
My question is, can we implement the sensitization of teachers into their training and also implement this policy where parents must be included in the affairs of the school? Yeah, that's my question and suggestion.
Great
Thank you.
presentation. Great presentation. Any of our panelists would like to take that?
First of all, excellent questions and very good presentation. Remember this though, the PTA as an act of parliament sits on each school board. So parents are represented in your school, on the school board, making decisions, supporting the school's administration. And the work, effective PTAs work in tandem with the school to develop a lot of things. But I do take a point that parents need to be more involved, not just attending PTA meetings, but also getting involved in the learning process. Remember this, learning begins at home. The first experience of learning begins at home. And I would say that perhaps we should extend it somewhat to invite parents to sit into classrooms from time to time with their children, learning some of the curriculum, so that when they leave, they will appreciate it even more. And so I think the trend is doing that. That's what trend is doing. Trend is bringing parents even closer to the action and galvanizing the whole process of teacher, parent, student, the entire stakeholdership of school. Excellent question again.
Thank you. Ms. Carr wants to add to that, and then I'm going to head across to Joel, and I'm going to see if I can squeeze in those two questions from the floor.
Okay, so I wanted to answer because your question was policy related. The National Parenting Support Commission was established by an act of parliament to implement the National Parenting Support Policy, which really is intended to ensure that we coordinate supports of parents so that they would be involved in education. What I like about this policy and the entity in general is the fact that we don't have punitive intentions. We're not here to punish parents. We really aim to support, to encourage their involvement. So it's an interesting twist on your question because you want a policy demanding their involvement. And so that's why I'm answering this way, that we're not punitive. So there's nothing that really should hinder their involvement. We're here to support whatever it is that we call them the determinants of effective parenting, because there are other things that impact a parent's inability to be as involved as he or she would want to be. That's why we're a coordinating entity. We look at all those other things that impact them, and we get the supports they need so that they can be involved. The involvement is not limited to PTA. The PTA is a wonderful construct and it's information rich. But I like mentioning the curriculum as well. I like mentioning the fact that there are other avenues for involvement. There is a curriculum implementation team that has a parent who is supposed to be represented. And each school must have what we call a CIT, a curriculum implementation team. I mentioned earlier, and this is why I wanted to answer the way I did, that parents can be resource persons. We have this important curriculum that we must implement that pushes the transformation agenda. But we need parents to understand the curriculum so they know how better to support you at home. Yeah. And you're correct. Information is updated every day. Information is changing. The way you parented last year or 2 years ago, you might have to change that to keep up with the different trends as they're brought on by this digital age that we're living in. I thought it was a beautiful question, and thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Joanne. I'm going to head over to you to see if we can squeeze in some questions from online, and then we have to head to our Vox Pop.
Absolutely. No, first of all, online is on fire. Both channels, all the channels. Some very vibrant conversations taking place. If you're just joining, getting a chance to hop on right now, welcome to our conversation. It's been trending, and of course, we really appreciate the time, you taking the time to listen, tune in, also dropping your comments. I'm seeing all the comments right now online. Now, one of the questions was going to be along the lines of how are we going to be inclusive with the disabled community, but I think we kind of touched on that a little, and looking forward more to that conversation. But this one now is asking in terms of what exactly is the roadmap looking like? So the town hall, we've established that, but in terms of next steps, school tours, what exactly is in the bag? You probably don't want to let out too much. Dr. Chu, I know you might not want to let out a lot right now, but online I've seen about 3 persons asking, what's next?
What's next? So we have our town hall this evening. Next week, we're going to be doing the school pop-ups, starting at St. Andrew Technical High School, talking to the young people, interfacing with them, making sure that they know about the pillars of transformation. We want this to be a household conversation. So we're going to be going around our schools. We have 7 pop-ups planned right across our regions, 1 in each region for the first go. We're going to be, well, we started having some radio interviews all this week. You saw our trend ad. We'll be running with that. We should be getting into a trend dance. Yes, so we have a memorable piece to carry us through the campaign. You know, we'll be doing some TV interviews coming up. That's part of the trend transformation, and we will continue to repeat these things, moving the town halls. We want to be around the country. We want every single stakeholder group to understand what the trend is all about, what the change will look like, what is the inspiration that we want you to feel when you talk about the trend. So those are some of the things coming up. We have a Chief Transformation Officer, and that person and the others will be going around having powwows with principals and teachers in-house. We are available to come to staff meetings and discussions. The education officers are going to be leading conversations on the ground with their teachers and principals. In fact, they have already started. The regional directors are here. Can you stand? Regional directors, stand. Let them see you. These are key persons leading the transformation. I see 2 of them just now in the different parishes. So we have legs in the field, Terry. And so we are very, very targeted in what we are doing. So those are some of the things that are coming. And internal comms. See my stakeholders there, my executive management team. Sometimes we talk about transformation and we forget that the people inside, they're also part of the team. And so we're going to be building out the internal communication so the message is live and well in every single unit, department, agency, right across the Ministry of Education. So that's coming.
Thank you. So Joel, it sounds like for the most part, as they begin, it sounds like more of an awareness to get everyone, all stakeholders into it. And then I suppose after you meet quarterly, we will then find out about the labs, the
progress.
where the parents are concerned, where the teachers are concerned, the training is concerned.
Yes.
All right, Joel, can you squeeze in one more?
I most definitely can squeeze in one more. Well, amidst all the discussion, there's a discussion along the lines of patois. That's a very good one. That kind of got everybody talking in there. But for another question that I'm looking at right now, there's one that's asking, in terms of the citizens, how can they, some of them online right now are parents, some of them are uncles, some of them are aunts. What is one vital suggestion you have as to how they can be involved with the movement starting now?
But that's my next question. That person stole my question. Okay, we're going to jump to that question. What is my role? And that's a fantastic question to hear from family members, from the village asking now, okay, it's fine that the government might be doing all of this, but what is my role in this transformation process? Great question.
I'm going to give Casey a minute to respond to that first, and I'll come back because we just launched our Parent Month. And a pillar is, well, the theme is participation for purpose, and a pillar that it is your school, own it.
That's right.
So let's just talk about that a little bit, and then I'll jump back in.
Great question to the person who posed it. We really are here to promote parental involvement, and our interest is in upskilling our parents in the process. And so right across the system, we have parenting education sessions. One of the pillars says, take a class, enroll in a parenting education class. Because as the prospective parent, the young lady said, right, that things are changing. The way you parented 5 years ago, and as people we parent the way we were parented, we have to change those strategies to reflect the new times. And so we want our parents to enroll in parenting education classes. They're going to be every Tuesday through to Friday, all across the school system. Every school, guidance counselors are conducting the session, social workers, even school nurses in some instances. So we want you to go to the parenting education classes so you can be upskilled. That's a very good way to participate.
Lovely. Dr. Chu?
Right. Thank you very much, Casey. And we want every single Jamaican to play a part in what is happening in our communities. So part of transformation will require our students attending schools every single day. Right now we have a problem. We saw that forcefully in COVID, when we struggled to find our students, and parents, community members were comfortable with seeing students at home, not attending to any online work, not reading anything. Even with the resumption of face-to-face, we are now struggling with a high attendance rate. So we talk about what do we need to do? We need to encourage our students back into the face-to-face. We need to help our parents who are struggling to get their students, their children to school. The more time out of school, the more difficult it is for that child to excel. So that's part of it. The village. We are calling on the village. This is not a Ministry of Education thing. This is a village priority where everybody in our communities must play a part. We have needy parents, so we talk about equity. Those stakeholders who can give, target our schools, resource our feeding programs, buy materials and drop off. You may do farming in your communities, enable our school canteen. There are children who sometimes can't go to school because a parent cannot afford it. There's a transportation challenge in some families. So if you want to get involved at the local level. Partner with a school. Give your gifts to your schools. It will benefit a child or our children. It must go back to the village. The village is important. Education is a team sport.
Thank you so very much. And the reason why that question is very interesting is because we actually did a vox pop. For those of you who have questions, I have not forgotten you, but I thought it was the perfect time to actually play this vox pop because the question was, when it comes to transforming education, what is your role or responsibility? Let's take a look.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend, we are the youth them.
I foster 2 young girls, and I just try to ensure that not only do they have access to their school curriculum activities, but try to just engage and involve them in other learning areas that can, help with their development and help them to grow.
Well, my role is to ensure that my son, get a good education. I helped him with his online classes and help him do the right stuff.
Okay, my role as an elder is to nurture others around me, to show them the right direction in order for them to, instill good morals and good ethics and so forth, stuff like that.
In transformation is, for me, making a comfortable space for persons to talk to. Sometimes just sitting and listening, it goes a long way for some people, and you may never know who you're helping.
As a library attendant, we actually give students the material that they need to to finish their studies, to bring out a better version of themselves.
It's my job to actually just take my education seriously, as to provide for my country and as to contribute to the development of my country.
Alright, so I have younger siblings and I have nephews coming up that are much younger than me. So my role would basically be to have a more active role in their educational, upbringing. So, use real-life situations to kind of teach them like whatever they're not understanding in class, so I'd use more real-life situations so they can actually understand what they're learning.
All right, thank you for that. Great vox pop. In our audience, we have the president of the Jamaica Association of Education Officers, Mrs. Fiona Morris-Webb, and we've heard all the conversations around education officers and the training and them being a key role. Listening to the conversation, all the questions around trend, what is it that education officers hope to achieve, to learn, in order to impart and to be the great pillars that we rely on when it comes to our educational system?
Okay, thank you, Terry. Good night, everyone. What is it that education officers hope to achieve? Well, first let me say that there is no trend without education officers. Education officers form part of the pillar, the backbone. If you have the rib, they are part of the rib. And so education officers, they play a great role in trend. What we hope to achieve, we hope to see greater students' performances. When we look at CSEC, when we look at PEP, we would love to see those results climbing. We would love to see results in English language. We would love to see, we have, across Jamaica now, we have the, what you call them again, the call centers. We would love to see, persons, those persons have complained about the language, that we need to train, we need to upskill these persons more, because when they answer the telephones, the language is so bad. And so where does that take place? We have the curriculum unit who would have written the curriculum to ensure that transformation takes place. When the curriculum was written, we ensured that we have stakeholders from, Finland. We have consultants from Finland, Singapore, all of that, to ensure that transformation takes place in education. Because what is it we hope to achieve? We want to see better outcomes in terms of student learning. We want to see, as Casey mentioned up there, parenting. We have the guidance counselors. We have the community relation education officers that drive this as well as part of the education officer corps. So we want to see parents more involved. Those are the outcomes we hope to achieve. We want to see, I think the student council person there mentioned inclusiveness. We want to see, we have a special education unit where we would really love to see that unit drives those schools that deals with intellectual disabilities and gifted children, because we oftentimes forget those. So we have a unit that deals with that. So we would want to see inclusiveness as it relates to better outcome. I could go on, but I know you're pressed for time.
And I think all of us do agree, because you actually were able to do a capture of all of the different areas that touches the parents, the teachers, the principals, the community, and everyone who is a part of this amazing value chain. Now, my time is pressed. I'm going to take one more question. I know that you are the next person in line. I'm going to take one more question, get 2 more comments from Joel, and then I'm going to have to close. However, for those of you who have your questions, please wait afterwards, because we would love to still get your question as we go to stats and the other schools. And of course, the ministry will be using their social media platforms to address and answer a lot of the questions that they were not able to answer this evening. So, question to you, young lady.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and being safe. My name is Bevina Hamilton. I'm a first-year student of the University of the West Indies and a member of the General Secretary of the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students. On the 30th of October, Jamaica experienced a major 5.6 magnitude earthquake. During the earthquake, I was in the lecture theater, and being in a room where the ceiling was falling down was traumatizing. Being scared throughout the day due to aftershocks, not feeling safe, and being away from home was mentally pressuring. Surprisingly, with all of this happening, it was stated that classes resumed the next day. I say all of this to say that after a restless night, it was sad that I had to attend classes the next morning. I am asking that the Ministry of Education and Youth in the future mandate institutions to provide students with post-disaster relief services so our students can recover from the trauma whilst not missing classes or being affected academically, and to show us that the Ministry of Education and Youth care about the Jamaican students and students studying in Jamaica.
All right, thank you so very much. So not really a question, but rather a comment that even in the conversation about transformation, mental health, the status of mental health, what does that recovery process look like, not just from a curriculum standpoint and getting back to the books, but how are our students processing? Would you like to address that comment?
Well, I just want to acknowledge and to empathize. We do understand the post-traumatic responses to things like these. It's something that we can't prepare for. The earthquake is sudden. And so sometimes we neglect to treat or to address the emotional component of that. So our principal is probably busy looking at the infrastructure, making sure that, you know, it's physically safe. But we tend to forget. But it's already a mandate in our schools that psychosocial support is provided for our children for every kind of disruption or situation. That is why we have guidance counselors who are so trained in schools. Our deans of discipline, they have what is called a critical incident response team in our school, which is also made up of psychosocial support. It's regretted that you didn't see that in action, right? But we apologize for that. But the framework in our schools does account for psychosocial support. We have 1,198 guidance counselors across the system, which is our 1,010 schools. We have 180 health and family life educators. We have, I think, 156 deans of discipline. These people are psychosocial training, right? They are the helping professionals in our schools. And they are to work together. Our nurses, they are a part of this team. And it is our hope that we will continue, Anake, to sensitize them for this kind of response, and not just to be obsessed with the physical infrastructure, because they want to know that you won't be hurt, but you are emotionally hurt. And so I'm making the appeal. Principals, you're in the space. Guidance counselors, you're in the space. Teachers, you're in the space. Education officers, you're in the space. We're going to have to fact check. We have to check in with our schools to make sure that we pause and address the psychosocial impact of the pandemic. Students. I'm calling all of us to action.
Thank you for that comment. We absolutely appreciate it. We are indeed out of time. We probably went over our time. We know that we have students here, and we certainly need to get them home as quickly as possible. This has been...
Terry, just a little bit. We didn't get your school, but I'm asking one of...
University of the West Indies.
Okay.
First year.
So we're going to make sure that you get some additional support, because we're not taking it for granted that you're okay. All right?
I've gotten the signal that I really do need to close off. I do need to close off.
Remember, we have TV.
One question. It has to be nice and brief.
All right,
thank you.
All right, good night. I'll keep it quick. My name is Niles Davis. I'm currently the head boy of the Kingston College. Now, the first step to transformation, never give up. All right? So, my question, transformation, yes, we support it. And we're going into a society of using more technology. We love that. But, I have a question. I'm sorry. How will that transformation benefit students without teachers? In subjects that need more hands-on, more technical subjects. Teachers, we need teachers.
So I think you're alluding to the migration issue, right? So as you know, the migration issue is not a Jamaica problem.
Yeah.
The teacher shortage is a global problem. And once it's global, it's going to impact us. We are a specially chosen people because we are good at the English language, and so there is a pull on Jamaican teachers, and also because we are good. So we have to pivot as a ministry. Part of the transformation is to make teaching attractive. I hope I can get you registered in my teacher's college, right? The big bad Kingston College. Transitioning. I hope I can find a cohort of students in your school who we can put on scholarship and get into technology, get into TVET, and get into the profession. So we are building out our recruitment process. We are building out our supply chain into our teachers' colleges. We are retooling the colleges. Just yesterday, we had the presentation from the project unit looking at an 8.5 billion infrastructure plan for our teachers' colleges. Right now, we are resourcing all our lecturers with technology, their laptops, and we're building out their labs and so forth. So we know we have a crisis. Another plan of transformation is to look at the export plan for teachers. So we want to train for the market. Jamaica has a market. So we are going to balance the game. But notwithstanding, we have the technology, and one-on-one is here. I want to recognize them. Because in the process of teacher shortage and migration, Terry, one-on-one came up with a technology, a Jamaican, and he made sure that our curriculum, materials for teaching and learning, aligned to the national standards curriculum and aligned to all our syllabi for our external exam, that those were ready and can be transmitted from a remote location into our schools. So right now, no class should be without a teacher. That we have a clear vacancy for because one-on-one has provided a response to that. Let's clap one-on-one. That's a Jamaican.
All right. Thank you so very much. And thank you for that question. Joel, I know we're out of time, but I'd love to take 2 comments at least. Give me an idea or a sense of what online has been saying.
Online has been very good, I must say. The dialogue online is, I wish you guys could see it right now. And I'm talking about all platforms, JIS, PBCJ. Now, one of the conversations so far, because I won't take another question because we may spend the entire day here, but most of the conversations are really talking about, lessons learned from COVID, how that can be incorporated into trend. There are some other ones coming in talking about, the same migration issues. Some of them are also looking at, we need to work hand in hand with the Ministry of National Security to solve the issues of crime and challenges that pose because how that affects extra lessons. In the afternoon, kids need to go home, etc. Yes. But the conversations have been vibrant. I really want to thank you all for joining us online. This was really cool hanging out with you. And of course, keep the conversation moving. Please tune in to the different platforms of the Ministry of Education and Youth. Find out how you can be a part of the solution as well. Use the hashtags. And as the ministry mentioned, they're an open door. So if you have suggestions and feedback, feel free to make use of the relevant channels to do so. Thank you so much for joining. Keep the conversation going.
All right. Thank you so very much, Joel. Thank you for all of the persons who are watching online. Thank you for your comments. I'm very, very sorry that we were not able to take all questions. All the best to the Ministry of Education and Youth. With Trend, we are going to look forward to not just seeing the ads and yes, singing the jingle, but actually seeing the implementation and the strategies and holding you accountable. So again, if you have any questions and you want to get them addressed, make sure that you're following the Ministry of Education and Youth social media platforms. We look forward to seeing the school tours, and I understand that St. Andrew Technical High School is next week. So again, keep it trending. Follow the news, follow the trail. We wish you all the best. Thank you for tuning in, and I wish you journeying mercies. Thank you so much.
Watch the trend, big up the trend, TREND. Big up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the school's track performance, access and attendance. From infant primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are giving. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools. Yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, big up the trend. TREND. Promote technology, yes, and better planning. Quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry, changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Watch